SJSU is competing in a competition that's statewide to see how many students can get registered to vote. I'm Nayeli Lopez, and I have that story coming up on Update News.
What started off as a silent protest 50 years ago now led to a loud conversation. I'll have the story next. Lindsay Boyd on campus.
I am Viviana de la Peña in Santana Row, where local vendors are selling their homemade products. I'll have more on that story coming up.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communications at San Jose State University, your source for what's happening with a fresh perspective on today's issues. You're watching Update News.
Welcome to Update News. I'm Nayeli Lopez.
And I'm Elizabeth Rodriguez. This is a special week at SJSU. It marks 50 years since two black glove fists rose for racial equality at the 1968 Olympic Games. The two sports legends who raised them got the conversation going on about political protest in sports. On campus this week, Lindsay Boyd is live on campus with more.
Elizabeth, Olympians, reporters, and sports activists all came here to campus for one legendary town hall meeting. It was all to celebrate this moment 50 years ago when John Carlos and Tommie Smith raised their fists at the 1968 Olympics. A silent protest on the Olympic stage led to a loud conversation about racial progress on the event center stage.
Recognize those giants among us whose footsteps are still counted among those of the living.
These giants, John Carlos and Tommie Smith, joined the Landmarks and Legacy of Athlete Activism panel. They talked about social injustice in sport on Wednesday. Smith and Carlos joined the panel to discuss their fear, their purpose, and their motivation for protesting on the Olympic stage. 100-meter dash gold medalist on the women's Olympic team, Wyomia Atiyah, says she vividly remembers the moment.
You could hear people talking, and then you could hear people booing, you could hear people whistling, you could hear people cheering, and then I just started feeling, oh man, I hope nothing happens to them.
Carlos says he was motivated to stand for racial injustice from a young age.
We put our fist in the sky, basically with a black glove, because that was the first time that the Olympic Games had ever been televised in Technicolor.
Smith said he had no fear protesting. He had to do it.
It's really sad nationally that the two young black athletes had to do what they were doing to bring attention to the raticism of our country.
And their sacrifice not only paved the way in civil rights, but for future injustices. This was true of NBA Hall of Famer Spencer Haywood, who fought the Supreme Court to play professional basketball right out of high school.
Players like LeBron James, for an example. He has 4 extra years in the NBA at $43 million per year because of what I stood for.
The leaders of today's movements acknowledged the path the panelists before them paved. Their iconic protest led to First Amendment activist Toni Smith Thompson to protest during the national anthem at her college basketball games.
That my participation actually was, I was lending myself to this really toxic form of nationalism that was taking hold.
The same feeling is what led Colin Kaepernick to kneel for the national anthem. Green Beret Nate Boyer convinced Kaepernick to kneel rather than sit.
Motivation was to be a part of mending, our broken country as it feels.
Dr. Harry Edwards says there's still more activism and conversation that needs to be had, especially with the Me Too movement growing. On campus, Lindsay Boyd, Update News. The event was part of the Words to Action conference hosted by San Jose State Sports Institute. On campus, Lindsay Boyd, Update News.
Thank you, Lindsay. A student government committee on campus is helping SJSU compete in the Ballot Bowl. The Ballot Bowl is a competition between California colleges to see how many of their students can register to vote. As a part of an effort to get more students to vote, a student-led campaign is propelling SJSU into the Ballot Bowl.
Under the Secretary of State. It's basically a competition between all the 23 CSUs to see which campus can get the most students registered to vote.
The Associated Students Committee, Lobby Corps, is the group that has helped maintain a campaign called #SJSUVotes.
People either don't vote because they don't want to, or don't vote because they don't know why they should vote, or who's running and who they should vote for.
So far, the campaign has registered 68 SJSU students as new voters. Grace Pang is a director on the Associated Students Board and chairs the Lobby Corps. She is running the campaign and monitoring the Ballot Bowl's results.
I really see an effort throughout a lot of the organizations within San Jose State, like helping and being part of this, being part of the effort, I guess, to register students. So
an SJSU political science student who currently works on the Gavin Newsom for Governor campaign says politicians need to address student needs or seek their vote.
No campaigns or candidates or anyone that works for any campaigns has visited this university in the last few months. And that's because we haven't shown any initiative and we haven't been out there.
Currently, SJSU is number 7 in the Ballot Bowl, and they're hoping to raise that ranking right before Election Day. On campus, Naili Lopez, Update News.
With the midterm elections right around the corner, one of the biggest issues on the ballot is Proposition 10. Living in one of the most expensive cities in the United States, Prop 10 will tackle the housing crisis. If passed, communities will be allowed to expand rent control.
So voting yes on Prop 10 is a vote to repeal the state law, remove barriers that cities and counties have to implement rent control as they would like in their own communities.
But opponents say Proposition 10 will make housing less available and less affordable. The average rent for for a one-bedroom apartment in San Jose is $2,600. The midterm elections will be held next month.
SJSU is known as a commuter school, and making constant round trips for classes can be expensive. Gas prices have been rising since last year, and adding to the cost is California's gas tax. But that could change after the November election. William Yap shows us what's on the ballot, and that could make gas cheaper.
As a big commuter school, SJSU students are driving a lot to get to campus, and their gas expenses keeps growing. Part of this was because of the 2017 gas tax, but now a new proposition.
Vote yes.
Vote yes.
Vote yes.
Vote yes.
Vote yes on Proposition 6 to repeal the unfair gas tax hikes.
Could repeal it. For chemistry senior Alexis Gomez, his 3-hour daily round trip from Salinas takes a toll on his budget.
I'm spending like around $80 to $100 on gas every week, so it's bad.
Last November, Governor Jerry Brown signed the Road Repair and Accountability Act of 2017, also known as the gas tax. It added 12 cents per gallon of gas to help pay for repairing roads, improving traffic safety, and expanding public transit systems. California drivers are currently paying the second highest gas tax in the country.
I think the gas tax is not a good tax. It's very regressive. It's harder on the poor than the rich.
Economics lecturer Fred Fulvery says there are better ways to fund road repairs, but will vote no on Proposition 6.
Under the circumstances, it's probably better to have the tax and fix the roads.
Voters have to decide if paying a little more for gas is worth fixing potholes and bridges. And although voters will be making the decision, this has become a partisan issue. Political science professor James Brent says Republicans are generally against hiking taxes and says students need to vote.
The fact of the matter is, it's students that are going to have to live with our transportation system, and it's students who will be paying this tax for the rest of their lives.
The last day to register to vote is Monday, October 22nd, and Election Day is November 6th. In San Jose, William Yap, Update News.
Investigators with the California Highway Patrol say it appears drugs and/or alcohol may have been factors in a car crash that killed a San Jose State cheerleader. 20-year-old Angela Jose died early Sunday morning as her car rolled over the Interstate 280 in Redwood City. No other cars were involved. She was not wearing a seatbelt and was ejected from the car. Jose was a junior at SJSU studying psychology and performed with the cheer team at Levi Stadium less than 12 hours before the accident. The university is reaching out to the team to help with the grieving process.
The San Jose State cheerleading team has been offered the services of San Jose State University's counseling and psychiatric services group that was made available to them Sunday.
Jose grew up in San Jose and graduated from South San Francisco High School. She attended De Anza College before transferring to SJSU this semester.
Employees at the Marriott Hotel in downtown San Jose are on strike over contract negotiations. The sounds of loud drums vibrate in front of the hotel on Market and San Carlos streets as employees chant and protest. Workers are asking for higher wages, a safe work environment, and job security. One of the protesters who spoke with us has been working at the Marriott for 15 years.
And because the Silicon Valley
is too high of cost of living. And so there's no way that we can afford to live here unless we work more than one job.
The strike has been held for more than 2 weeks, and workers say they will continue the strike until their needs are met. Negotiations between the labor union Unite Here and Marriott will continue. Workers say they are remaining hopeful, but until their needs are met, the drums will continue banging as the strike continues. Electric scooters zoom through San Jose State all day long. While they have introduced a faster way to get to class, they have also provided a new way to get hurt. Kelsey Valle has the story.
Just scan the code and go. In spite of being an innovative way to get across campus, these electric scooters have brought upon a new wave of accidents. The Student Wellness Center says it is treating about 2 students with scooter-related injuries per day.
The injuries range from scrapes and bruises to broken bones and concussions.
The companies Lime and Bird released these devices into downtown San Jose this past summer. Students taking advantage of them face the risk of being launched off if obstacles get in the way.
The rock went up into the back wheel of the scooter, and the scooter stopped suddenly, and he kept going and was thrown off of his scooter. He went head first and hit a fire hydrant with his face.
There have even been instances where these scooters split in half in the middle of being used.
First-time scooter users need to confirm that they are at least 18 years old, have a driver's license, and promise not to ride them on the sidewalk. So technically, these motorized vehicles are not supposed to be ridden on campus, but students are still being allowed to do it anyway.
The scooters can go up to 15 miles per hour, and California law does not require riders over 18 to use helmets.
I mean, I don't think they're a bad tool, because I mean they're like a really cool thing to use around campus, but I think it scares me because how fast they go. I don't like how fast they go.
I saw this one girl, like, her scooter just snapped in half while she was riding, and she fell, and she was like, I have a quiz, I still gotta go to class. So she just limped it to class. Like, what a trooper.
Scooter safety concerns will slowly be addressed as the devices are studied and modified. And the Wellness Center will keep caring for those that get into accidents. On campus, Kelsey Valle, Update News.
Protests against plans to build Google offices in San Jose came close to San Jose State this week. Demonstrators stopped a bus outside the 7th Street parking garage Thursday to protest the tech giant. For almost an hour, protesters blocked traffic on San Salvador Street. They say the route they blocked is part of Google's transportation system.
This is like nationwide and even like all over the world that people do not want tech to continue to ruin their communities, and I don't want Google to also ruin this community in San Jose.
Police forced the rally to disperse but didn't arrest anyone. The activists want to prevent renters from getting priced out. They hope to bring more attention to the people most likely to be displaced.
When we come back, Kelsey Valle will be here with a look at arts and entertainment.
Local crafters sell their creations at the Makers Market.
San Jose State students pour a variety of wines at the Willow Glen Wine Walk.
Those stories and more when we return.
And now we have Kelsey Valle with A&E. So it looks like, I've noticed a lot of murals are so colorful all around San Jose. It looks like San Jose has a really good art scene.
Yeah, new artists continue to make a name for themselves here in the area. Not only is San Jose home to tech engineers, but also innovators who still use their hands to create art. A San Jose artist is surviving the fast-paced city and is still managing to create beautiful pieces. Jose Francisco Govea has more on the story.
In the midst of clustered noise within downtown San Jose, a 23-year-old artist named Jorge Camacho, otherwise known as Jada, solemnly sways his paintbrush. The quiet and dimly lit area within Local Color Art Gallery contrasts the overpacked and loud outside world. This gallery is one of 3 locations in San Jose that permanently displays his art.
What I do is I jump around between like graphic design, so I'll do like logos or like flyers, like social media stuff for like
businesses around here, and I'll do murals for them too. Camacho's initial influence for his thick line drawings and symmetrical typography comes from street art and skateboarding. When I was growing up, I was doing like a bunch of skateboarding, and that got me into art because, you know, you kind of just like, you judge the skateboard by its cover, by the graphic art that's on it, and you're just like, that looks dope, I want to skate on that. After being recognized in multiple venues here in downtown San Jose and through social media, Camacho decided to stay true to his dream and become a full-time artist. The journey of becoming a full-time artist didn't just appear in a matter of days. Camacho had to build his skills by challenging himself from working on small canvases to towering murals.
He brings the full package. Like, you know, he makes the art, but then he like promotes it as hard as he makes it, and then he shows up and he does all the work.
Camacho is a representative of the growing number of diverse artists in San Jose who are being recognized. He plans on working in a new mural next week for Powwow, another San Jose art community organization. In San Jose, Jose Francisco Govea, Update News.
The Halloween season is here, and with that comes the search for the perfect pumpkin. Bright orange pumpkins litter the field at Discovery Meadow on Saturday at the Pumpkins in the Park Festival. Families celebrated the fall season and learned about environmental sustainability.
And I'm here at this table to kind of give people a little bit of information about the Conservancy and what we do, and also provide them an opportunity to kind of touch some animal pelts and get them excited about the animals that kind of live in our area.
The Harvest Fair raised money for the Guadalupe River Park Conservancy. The group helps preserve the park, its gardens, and the river. People enjoyed live music, carnival games, free food, and a costume parade for the younger ones. Attendees left with a pumpkin of their choice just in time for Halloween. It is the season to get crafty. Local vendors are sharing their creativity at the seasonal makers market in the park. Viviana de la Peña has the story.
The Makers Market made its way outdoors to Santana Row on Saturday. Craftspeople showed off their wares, hoping to attract buyers who would otherwise shop at established stores.
Give the community a way to support their local makers and also to keep money in their local economy and their local maker communities.
About 30 to 50 makers are selected each year to participate in the Makers Market. Jewelry to candles to even succulents were among the many products sold. What started as a passion for Natalie Opperman led to a business.
Just my passion for jewelry making, and I started making it for myself and my friends and family, and then it just kind of caught a lot of attention.
Many of the products sold are eco-friendly and made of natural resources. Community maker Amy McFarland says people love authenticity.
Wanting to use stuff that doesn't have chemicals or preservatives. So I created this brand for people like me that want to find something alternative, hopefully make it the new normal.
Going beyond Santana Row, the market is set to also pop up in the coming months in Napa. The Makers Market will continue to expand its locations. It will be open on every first Saturday of each month until December. In San Jose, Viviana de la Peña, Update News.
SJSU students took to the streets of Willow Glen last weekend for volunteer work. But it's not your typical assignment. Lovetta Jackson is standing by in the newsroom to show us how wine appreciation plays into this work. Lovetta?
Kelsey, the students are from SJSU's Wine Appreciation course. Volunteering helped them learn about different varieties of wine.
The Wine Walk in Willow Glen last weekend provided 20 unique tastings at a different stop for each. Stores including Bella James, Functional Fitness, and Bruni Gallery took part.
The Wine Walk is located in downtown Willow Glen at multiple store locations. People are shopping for deals and grabbing wine at the same time.
SJSU students were inside pouring the drinks.
And just getting to know the community and just what a wine walk basically is. I've never been a part of one before, so it's just a great experience just to be able to do this.
The students had the opportunity to taste the different wines as well. The volunteering gave them a chance to explore new wines. The Wine Appreciation class teaches students how wine is produced and its significance.
Well, at first I wanted to take it because I was like, oh, you get to taste like wine and stuff. But then there's so much more to it that I was like, that's pretty interesting. I didn't understand it at first.
There are many chances to drink wine, but studying its origins is a major part of the course.
But some of the stuff we've been learning is how to discern different smells from different wine, how to be able to tell different tastes.
Professor Adon Oseguera is one of the wine appreciation professors. He wants his students to appreciate wine as a glass of craft instead of an intoxicant.
It's not a drinking class. It's a fun, interactive. We learn about history. We learn about geography. We learn about different countries, different grape varietals.
The class is mainly for hospitality majors, but any student wanting to know the fine points about wine is welcome.
Ever thought about drinking wine during class? You should definitely sign up for the course. You'll be earning credits to socialize with classmates while learning the history of a drink. Live in the newsroom, Lavetta Jackson, Update News.
Thanks, Lavetta. Every Tuesday, the SJSU Department of Art and Art History hosts a variety of artists that come and speak to students for free. Kaylee Lawler has more on the story.
On a Tuesday night during midterms, things should be quiet on campus. But the art department in room 133 was full of buzz as art students attended the weekly lecture series through the Natalie and James Thompson Art Gallery. This week, artist Brian Farrell, who has a background in metals and jewelry, as well as furniture and tableware, talked to students about his background, his work, and advice on business as an artist.
As young art students, they just didn't cover how to run a business. And as an artist, you are essentially a small business. Whether you have employees or not, you have to make and sell something.
During his lecture, he kept students engaged with what inspired him as an artist. Stories of his success in art shows, as well as a breakdown of realistic expenses to expect as an artist. Gallery curator Aaron Wilder oversees the lecture series and said it's open to all students and faculty and giving existing art students an idea of what to expect after graduation.
The whole point of it is for the students to get kind of a broad, diverse sort of perspective on career fields, artist practices.
Artists invited to speak to SJSU students come with different backgrounds to give students ideas of what expression of art they would like to enter.
The Tuesday night lecture series continues through the fall semester. Next week, San Francisco-based curator Tanya Zambaro comes to visit campus to discuss art projects centered around the acts of walking. On campus, Kaylee Lawler, Update News.
Students are learning about social justice during Legacy Week. Along with the more serious lessons, they're enjoying live music and arts. Kunal Mehta has the story.
The Cesar Chavez Community Action Center hosted its 11th annual Rooted Social Justice Festival on Wednesday, moving to a different location. Leaving the 7th Street Plaza, the event has expanded to fill up Tower Lawn with new musical guests and more art activities.
We wanted to create more of this open environment. On top of that as well, we have a lot more organizations coming out. We have people from all over the Bay Area. We have new artists, of course.
Students could create wax hands or participate in a live screen printing demo.
Screen printing is an art process that many activists and activist movements have utilized. It's a process that really engages the person with the artwork because it's hands-on, it's engaging.
Despite having a wide variety of campus groups participating, people at the Rooted Social Justice Festival had one message: go out and rock the vote.
Because there are so many young people in this country who are really educated, know about climate change, know about policies that they want to see changed, but they don't think that their vote makes a difference, but it really does.
One way students can get involved with social causes is definitely vote, register to vote. The deadline is October 22nd, and yeah, get your voice out there.
Legacy Month celebrates the protests by John Carlos and Tommy Smith during the 1968 Olympic Games in Mexico City. This year marks the 50th anniversary of Smith and Carlos's protest. Students learned about social justice opportunities in art, the environment, and got to enjoy some free food at the same time. On campus, Kunal Mehta, Update News.
And that does it for A&E. What an engaging way to promote voter turnout, especially with that election coming out in just a little over 2 weeks now.
Yeah, we only have 18 days, I believe. Yeah, thank you, Kelsey.
No problem.
And when we come back, Alex Martinet will be here with a look at sports.
The Spartan football team plays at Levi Stadium for the first time.
And San Jose State's marching band performs at Levi Stadium during the Spartans game against the Black Knights.
Update News continues in 30 seconds.
Now we have Alex Martinet with sports.
So let's see how the Spartans are doing at football this day.
Yeah, it's been a challenging season so far, but hey, they're getting a chance to play at Levi Stadium for the first time. Instead of playing at SJSU Stadium, Spartan football faced off against Army, but for those who've been following the SJSU football team, the results were far too familiar.
San Jose State football ran onto the field at Levi Stadium where they played Army. At the end of the first quarter, SJSU led 3-0, holding a team scoreless for the first time in the opening frame this season. However, when the second half started, Spartan football turned over the ball 4 consecutive times. Spartan football coach Brett Brennan was noticeably frustrated with the team's offense at the game's post-games press conference.
And after that happens once, the offense needs to answer. And they need to come on the field and move the ball and not turn it over and protect the quarterback and do things that it takes to move the ball. So there's just all kinds of things that we need to fix, and it all starts with me. And I'll get going on that as soon as I'm done here.
With the offense not moving the ball, San Jose State defense began to break down. Army went on to score 52 consecutive points to end the game.
But at the end of the day, we still have to play defense, and that's our job, is to stop them. Either allow them not to score or at least force a field goal. So we went out there with that mindset every single time, no matter what offense did, because we can't control what offense does. We can only control what defense does.
With the game no longer in doubt, fans started to leave midway through the third quarter. The talent gap between the two teams was clear the game started.
They're improving, especially on defense. They seem to be playing with a lot more heart. They just need some more talent to go along with that heart.
With the loss to Army, SJSU is now 0-6 and now last place in the Mountain West Conference. The next game is on the road against San Diego State. Sometimes cheering on the team is difficult to do during a brutal loss for San Jose State football, but one group is on the stands. It is their job to keep making noise. Mauricio LaPlante gives us a look at what it's like for the marching band to perform at an NFL stadium for the first time.
It was a first for San Jose State's marching band, playing the soundtrack to the Spartans' debut football game at Levi Stadium.
We were like messing around right before we performed. We look out on the field and it's like, wow, this is Levi Stadium. Professional people play on this field.
There was little time to enjoy the spectacle, though. The drumline's sticks clattered back and forth as the band trudged up multiple stories to get from the field to the stands. Only part of an exhausting routine.
We're not exactly coming into any game expecting a vacation or something.
The band made sure to stay hydrated under the blistering sun.
12:30 kickoff, we're all hot here.
Having to play note by note, no matter how agonizing the defeat.
We're here to put on the best show we can and sound as good as we possibly can and recruit more members and be an exciting element of the college football atmosphere, regardless of how well the game's going. Stage faster, let's go!
Band director Craig McKenzie is guiding the band during a new chapter of their history, taking the reins from retired band director Scott Pearson, who had been in charge for the past 40 years. And McKenzie says the band is adapting quickly.
All 100 members of us have really started to step up and bring a whole new level of energy to what we're doing here. And the kids are working really, really hard.
The band expects to perform at 2 more games this semester, preparing for whatever venue they visit, one step at a time. From Levi Stadium, Mauricio LaPlante, Update News.
And that's all I have for sports. The marching band sounded really great. They played Lady Gaga, and they played everything.
It's so cool that they got to go to a professional NFL stadium.
Yeah, I love Lady Gaga. That was great. I didn't know that. That's so cool. And are you feeling lucky? The California Mega Million is at a record high with almost $1 billion. The drawing will happen at 8 tonight. The last chance to buy a ticket is 15 minutes before. So I got my tickets. I don't know about you, but I promised the assistant producer 20 grand. So
hopefully we're lucky. And that does it for this week.